The definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. When it comes to swimbait fishing, I guess I'm insane. My average day in the lake when throwing these big swim baits includes a ton of casts and very little bites. I will go out one day, throw this bait for 5 hours straight, not get a bite. Next day, I'll go out again, same thing, no bites. Third day, no bites. Even sometimes the fourth day, I will not get any bites. Then that fifth day rolls around, and I've been working these baits all day. These big 7 and 8 inch baits, huge lures. And then I'll get that bite. That's when it's all worth it. Because you know how much time you put into that fish. And when looking at these baits, it's not that hard to figure out, but if you get one on these, it's going to be a big one. Swimbait fishing is not your ordinary technique. You need to fully invest yourself in swimbait fishing to do it successfully. Now, yes, you can have a couple swim baits and one rod and just do it every once in a while, but if you truly want to learn what swimbait fishing is all about, you need to invest yourself. It's not cheap. So my recommendation would be to go into it with an open mind, try it out for a little bit and see if you like it. You can get away with throwing this depth right here on a 7/6 heavy action rod, your frogging rod. You can get away with it. It's not ideal. And this HUD, you're going to need a little bigger rod, but you can get away with it. But once you make that leap, once you truly want to chase those trophy bass, and at that point, it almost becomes you're hunting those bass. You're not just chucking and winding all day. You know what you're doing. You're envisioning your lure going through the water. You have everything planned out in your head. And then it all comes together. This bait right here, after shipping and everything, $50. And this bait, $109. $109 for this bait. My rod, $150. My reel, $175. Constantly respooling line, that adds up. These are just two of the baits. Now I'm not saying that because I want to show that I have expensive baits. I'm just saying that because this is expensive stuff. And if you're going to do it, and you really, really, really want to do it, you want to go all in. Swimbait fishing is as much psychological as it is physical and actually going to do it. Going into swimbait fishing, I knew that I was going for maybe 1 or 2 bites a day. And half the time, I don't even get those bites. I missed a fish on the Huddleston the other day. It sucks. Only bite I got all day, and I missed it. That's just how it happens. So there was 2 ways that I could have reacted to that. I could have pouted, been done for the day, and thrown my rod and said, screw it, I'm going to put on a Senko and go try to catch a fish. Or I could have kept going. I kept going and didn't get any more bites. Nothing to show for it. But that's the attitude that you need to have. This right here, the depths, great lure. It's the glide bait. So this comes through the water like this. It's an easy meal. If you want to understand swimbait fishing, you need to understand bass. 19 out of the 25 biggest bass in the country came from lakes stocked with trout. So what that tells me in my mind is that big bass need big forage. And what imitates big forage? These guys right here. Swimbait fishing is all about putting the right bait in front of the right bass at the right time. If you go out on a lake and you see a dock, if there's one dock on the lake and you think, oh, there cannot be a fish there, somebody's hit that 20 million times, guess what? The biggest fish on that lake is going to own the biggest piece of structure. But if somebody keeps throwing a Senko or just an ordinary lure by it, it's probably not going to bite. But if you throw this bait right here, this Huddleston at it, over and over again at different times of day, eventually it's going to bite. You need to understand that your bites are going to go way down, but your size of fish is going to go way up. And it really is all worth it. Fishing these baits and not catching anything is still a great experience. Every time you're out, every single cast, you think, wow, I could catch my new personal best. That's just the attitude you have. Confidence is huge. Not necessarily confidence in the bait, but confidence in what you're doing is right. If you see a follower, do not get discouraged. That's a good thing. That tells you what's going on. Now, I'm swimbait fishing in Iowa. Iowa is in the Midwest. The Midwest does not have the biggest bass. So, I'm going for about 6-pounders plus. Those are huge bass for Iowa. Those are double-digit fish. Those are like the equivalent of a double-digit fish in California, Florida, all that stuff. We're chasing for monsters, so we're not going to get that many of them. We have to be okay with that. Now, am I saying that you can't go out with a swim bait and just knock their lights out and catch them. No, I'm not saying that at all. Now, I've never done it with a Huddleston. I have done it with the depths. They were all smaller fish, but this summer I was fishing a rat bait, a big topwater waking bait, and I knocked their lights out at night. 30 fish, a bunch of them, 3-4 pound range, had a 5, and that's when it all came together. Now, to start out fishing these huge baits, it can be very, very hard to do sometimes. You think there's no way a largemouth can get this in front, but trust me, it can. A 4 pound largemouth, which is a very big fish, can swallow this completely. It'll be gone. You need to have confidence in what you're doing is right. It's a huge bait, and the way the hook is positioned, it's a weedless bait, so the hook's right there. It has to eat it all the way. And you have to let them eat it, but they're going to want to. They're not eating this out of reaction. They're eating this because they're hungry, or because it's making them mad. This is not a bait coming over their head so fast and like, wow, what is that? I'm going to eat it. No, they know exactly what this is. This is a huge shad, sucker, trout, whatever forage you have in the lake, this matches. Color is important, but do not stress too much on the color. I've caught fish on trout colored Huddlestons in lakes that have never had trout in them, ever. And they smoke it because what are they? A bass is a bass is a bass is a bass. A 6 pound largemouth in Iowa is a 6 pound largemouth in Florida. They're all the same. A 6 pound largemouth in Iowa is a little older than one in Florida, so maybe a little more smarter, but it's still a largemouth. If it sees something big, struggling, out of the ordinary coming by, it's going to smoke it. So have confidence in what you're doing is right. Now, you're saying you have talked for 7 minutes about the mental aspect of swimbait fishing, and you haven't showed us a single fish clip. Now, there's a reason for that. I know it's not the most interesting thing to listen to, but this is what swimbaiting is all about, is having the right mindset. If you don't have the right mindset, you're going to sell all your gear. You're going to quit. Now, it sucks sometimes. It really does, especially when you lose fish because you don't get that many. And it can really wear on you not catching fish, especially when you're fishing with a partner and they're using a conventional lure and they're smoking them. It's really tough. But you keep fishing this bait along your partner, they're catching 2 pounders, 1 pounders, maybe a 3 every once in a while, and then you smoke that 6 or 7. Yeah, then it all pays off. Alright? So if you guys keep that in mind, that you're going for the big fish, you can't think about numbers. You just keep fishing them, keep throwing these baits, and keep confidence in your mind. You're going to do great. Alright, thanks for going through that with me, guys. Now, we will take you to the garage. I'll show you the gear that I use, and then we'll go out on the water and see if I can get one. Alright, thanks, guys. Let's talk tackle. Tackle in swimbait fishing is exceptionally important. It is almost as important as the mindset. You're pulling a massive bait and you're putting a ton of stress on your rod and reel and line. And once you hook that monster fish that you've been chasing, that you've been dreaming for, you see the splash, your heart's starting to race, you don't even want to breathe, you don't want that fish to come off. You want all the confidence in the world that your rod can get that fish in the boat. Beef up your tackle. Go too strong rather than too light. This rod right here is rated at 10 ounces. It is an extra heavy action rod. It is 7 foot 6 inches. It's a little on the short end. All right, I would prefer an 8 foot rod, but it still has plenty of backbone and plenty strong to get those fish in. So, strong rod. If you're throwing a 5 ounce bait, I recommend at least a rod rated to 8 ounces. Don't go and buy a rod rated to the exact ounce that your bait is, because then you're not going to have as much backbone to set the hook. So get a bait rated from about 8 to 10 ounces depending on what you're throwing, and get yourself a good reel. The reason the reel is so important, a lot of people think, okay, the rod's what's important. The reel is just reeling in the line. That's all it's doing. And that's true in a sense, but you need a reel that has strong gears and that it's just overall super, super strong, because trust me, I've tried throwing these swim baits on cheaper reels, and I'll go out for about 4 trips, and I'll be reeling in, and all of a sudden I'll just have a huge backlash for no reason whatsoever. The line will only reel on one side, the gears will just give out on you. It's just too much drag with this stuff. Another super important thing is with these reels, ton of line capacity. You need a huge spool on there. You're using 20 to 30 pound fluoro or monofilament. That's a big diameter line. You need to be able to fill that spool up for those long casts. So, speaking of line, right now I have 20 pound fluorocarbon spooled up. That is perfect for these Huddlestons, perfect for glide baits, perfect for anything that's sensitive, and basically perfect for anything that's not on top of the water. Now, in the summer, I'm a topwater oriented guy, so I switch to monofilament. 25 pound monofilament, that's what I'm throwing. I'm throwing big game or P-line. That's about all I throw. And the great thing about monofilament is I get 700 yards for about $8. And with that, that means that if my line has any slight wear to it, I'm replacing. I'm stripping all my line off and putting all brand new line on. That is so important. Like I said before, you are chasing the fish of a lifetime. You don't use these baits just to catch normal fish. You have that one in mind. And when you see that thing splash, and when you have that thing on, you need everything to line up perfectly. You had the bait up line up perfectly, you fished it perfectly, so do not let your tackle give out on you. Tackle is super important, and I cannot stress it enough. Now, get your right tackle, go chuck it, and do not give up, and I guarantee you that you will not be sad with the results. Alright, we'll see you on the water. So basically that went just as well as expected. I did not catch a single fish or get a single bite all day. I did not fish that long. I fished for about 3 hours. Didn't catch any. It's about how it goes normally. Like I said earlier, you can fish all day and you fish for 1 or 2 bites. I mean, I did not fish as long as I usually do. I was fishing for like 3 hours, but I didn't get any bites. Just a whole lot of this. But I knew that coming into it. It's fall, so they should be eaten. But basically this just shows that you can fish for a long time with these baits and not catch anything. And to be good at this and to be confident with this, you can't care. That's not your goal, is to catch a fish every time. Your goal is to catch 1 or 2 fish every season that stand out from every other fish that anybody else has caught that you know. Now, not that it's a competition between people, but you don't always have the bigger fish than your fishing buddies, right? So, like, with these swim baits, that's a really good way to always catch the bigger fish. You're not going to catch the most, but if you keep at it, and you keep fishing these big baits and never stop, you're going to catch the bigger fish of everybody that you know. So guys, basically, do not let a couple of days of no fish discourage you, because it happens. It happens to all of us, happens to the best of us. And let me tell you, I'm not one of the best people at this swim bait game. There's a bunch of people that consistently catch monster fish over and over again and consistently catch fish on swim baits. When it comes to this swim bait stuff, I'm a beginner. I mean, I've been doing it for a couple of years, but there's so much more to learn about this than I know. And that's super important, is to never stop wanting to learn. Bass behavior is super important when learning about swim baits. I know I'm getting kind of preachy, and you're probably like, geez, this guy just needs to shut up and just let me fish, but your mindset coming into swim bait fishing is so much more important than anything else. I tried swim bait fishing like 3 years ago, and I quit because it was super hard and it's super fishless, and I traded away a bunch of my stuff. And now this year I'm trying to get back into it. Super hard. I mean, last year, sorry, I was trying to get into it, and now I'm here. I'm throwing swim baits and not catching that many fish. You know, I know I've been super monotonous about this, but it is all the same. Of anybody that you talk to, you have to be prepared to not catch that many fish. Alright, guys, keep grinding, keep throwing those big baits, and trust me, this is the most worth it thing in the fishing industry. This will have your biggest return on your investment. Hey, good luck, guys. I'll see ya.